So you've done that pivot to the end game focus and got so much for us now to play around.
Alright,
with
don't worry, I
in the
went live
beta,
on
and,
YouTube after
it
it's
seems
over.
like originally I was thinking, we might be playing for a few weeks here, and then maybe going back over to some Public Level 1 stuff. But it seems like you guys want us playing through Christmas.
That would certainly be good. Look, there's enough stuff there. I think it will take people a long time to get through.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously, it's also going to be the first time people are playing through a completely fresh campaign as well. I think that will take people a fair amount of time. So yeah, there's and then of course the end game as well to explore. I mean, yeah, it should be pretty significant. I mean, we've always wanted it to be that Path of Exile 2 leagues, are going to be, like how PoE 1 leagues are, where you play them and you play them for a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And then, sure, you get done with them eventually, and then you've got the next content that comes out. So, yeah, in order to be able to realize that, you have to have enough of a base to make that happen.
Yeah, people are definitely wondering how invested they can get in the beta. So I definitely want to ask a few questions kind of around that idea. So firstly, is there going to be wipes and resets, and will there be something before launch as well?
So we are going to be having new leagues effectively throughout the beta whenever we launch something significant, because we want to make sure all the effectively that people are able to play through. But that stuff will be merged into an early access league. And effectively, after we go into full release, that league will stick around. Now, I can't promise that everything about your character will function exactly like how it did in that thing.
I imagine it will be a glorious kind of snapshot of all of the here's all the broken stuff. Yeah.
But effectively, we can contain all that stuff in the sort of early access league, and then if you still want to play those characters, then you can go right ahead and do that. But the action is always going to be in whatever the most recent league is, and then of course after that point, there'll be a standard that everything goes into, which all our economic sins will forevermore be archived in the in standard. So yeah, that's no doubt what will happen.
Well, it's nice that it's not going to be affecting what will be the standard league.
Yeah.
Also,
that's the idea.
People will be able to kind of get invested in their characters. Because,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's even something kind of cool about the idea of making something that will be like that little historical.
I like they got a whole
collectible.
Absolutely, and I'm sure there'll be some handful of legacy
shelf
things that
of a
only
bunch of
exist in
PoE
early
stuff.
access leagues. So I guess we'll have to see how comes the unique balance.
You talked about the playing for a week or how long are we expecting?
Yeah.
Well, we also got to remember, and a lot of the PoE 1 players will be thinking very differently to people who are obviously going to experience this as a new game, but it is a new game, right? You don't have all these predefined, hyper-refined builds to play to immediately, go through things. You don't have people coming in with fully detailed 7 million line build guides of exactly what to do with what items. The discovery is going to be there. The discovery takes time, and the discovery is honestly ultra fun for me. I love it.
Yeah.
Now those things will emerge after time. Of course they do. Completely fine. But you should remember, there's a lot of game to play here to discover, to learn about the world, the new narratives, the new world building, the new unique items, the ascendancy classes, the massive passive tree, which is bigger than PoE 1's. The end game systems, the bosses. It's not going to be this I personally, when a PoE 1 league comes out, for example, I play for a month. Sometimes a bit longer, sometimes a bit less. It ultimately also depends largely what's going on here and how much I need to invest here. So, and there are other people who play for more 3 and whatnot, but there's certainly going to be a much longer time period you can play this for while still discovering new stuff and not feel like you're finished, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, of course, you see that's subjective. Everyone can pick their own point when they finish, but if you want to see everything and do everything, you're going to be investing a lot more time, especially these first-time rounds, and then obviously with every league, there's more to discover, but you get faster at doing all these parts over and over and over again. You'll get more efficient over time. That's how the game works. So, yeah, I'd expect a lot of time to be sunk into this to fully explore it to start with, a lot, not a week, not 2 weeks. You're going to be going far, far longer than that if you want to see everything. But, it's up to you. Play at your own pace. See how you want to go. Learn at your own pace. That's the beauty of a new game as well, which we haven't been able to experience with Path of Exile 1, or other games and for so long.
I should get a free key, so if I buy the pack,
world,
I should have
there's some familiar mechanics at the end game and stuff like that, which is awesome for people. But I certainly want to I'm very excited to see people discovering the new things and getting so excited about it.
I can tell you're amped for watching people go through that discovery process. Maybe even diving in yourself 100%. I love sitting there in Path of Building, as many of us do, but I am very excited for that. that new discovery process for a while.
I think you were saying how much you were part spreadsheet. I think I was saying I'm like maybe 60% spreadsheet, 40% discovery, and that's my play archetype. So
coming up with our player profiles, Timmy spikes, and things like that for both of Exalt characters.
The discovery part of me is ultra excited, and I'll mind you, that's coming from someone who kind of knows all the content. I'm still, because there's something different about making it versus actually playing it live with the players, seeing them discover it, uniques being linked in chat and on Reddit and all of that is just so cool. So we're going to get a massive dose of that, and it is like genuinely exciting to just see how people are going to think, what's worth 1 chaos or what's worth 10 chaos, what's worth if chaos is even the metric.
Is chaos even the currency that people settle on?
We were arguing about this earlier.
I'm pretty sure that 1 C spam in chat might turn into 1 E, because 1 Exalt, given that Exalt is now...
I think it'll be chaos. The ad remove will still be...
People don't appreciate, by the way, so when we say we've increased something, you're going to be getting multiple Exalts in Act 1. In PoE 2, we actually have increased that a lot. It's not just like an idle,
I can see Exalts becoming the new kind of like chaos.
I think actually that
chaos
will
being
be
the new divines.
I actually agree. But we'll see.
That's my point.
But it's a new economy, right? Who even knows? The market will have to.
But I like that we're already arguing about this. It's good fun. So, do you have some kind of beta release roadmap for updates and things like that for people to look forward to?
I mean, we certainly did have one 6 months ago when we were, but now that we're sort of getting to release, it's like, oh my god, we have to look at it. So, I mean, look, I don't think it'll be any less than 6 months, and I think it could easily end up being more. I certainly don't want to. I mean, look, 2025, I think. Really want to be full release in 2025. I don't really want to be spending more than a year. That would be pretty crazy. But I mean, honestly, we have to get all the content finished and all that sort of stuff. We always feel like we underestimate these things, and of course we have to learn what we need to learn. We have to get the game to the point when it is really fun. We have to make sure that all of the things we've got the difficulty right for all the players, we've got the economy right, all the stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to sort out. And so I kind of have a feeling that the first few weeks at least are gonna just be a scramble of oh crap, someone worked this crazy thing out and we found this thing, and that's always scary, because it's just when we add content to PoE 1, it's at least the kind of base of stuff that we have is kind of well tested and people know kind of what's going on with it. But here it's just complete new world, and we're the kind of game that has a lot of ability for players to do stuff that we wouldn't anticipate. We have just the way support gems work and everything like that. So there's certainly a lot of worry that there's just going to be builds that are completely ridiculous that we just never anticipated, combining certain things in different ways we don't expect. With hundreds of support gems, it can be like that. So that's going to be an interesting one.
It will happen.
Yeah, for sure.
It is inevitable, right? There's nothing we can even do about it, because you need hundreds and thousands of hours of testing to be able to do that with what can only be done with hundreds of thousands of players. But that's also the magic of it all, which is awesome.
How'd you do it?
That's why I was asking you,
did you refresh and it work?
Really doing 12 classes and 36 sentences, actually?
Yeah, that's absolutely. We have we know what we want to do with
it's
all
a bit
that
unhinged.
Stuff. It is a bit, but we like a challenge. I mean, a studio that produces a passive skill tree we do.
I clicked on the account
clearly
and I already tried that.
Has a bit of a glutton for punishment with regard to just mixing.
It says my
totally
payment accounts, and it wants me to
more later in an expansion or something.
It's saving my details, and then it gives me the error again.
I mean, as people go through early access, it's going to feel like there's just expansion content coming out pretty frequently. Just because we have all the stuff that we kind of got a lot of the way through. So there's stuff to come. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure I really want to get the Druid out. We announced it, we talked about it. It's a lot of fun.
I'm keen to get that out there as soon as we
can. The Huntress we've talked a bunch about as well. There's those kinds of things. I think we'll be able to move towards those pretty quick. But there's obviously more to do.
The other thing you mentioned, talking roadmap things, is we've always been, it's hard to predict, because a lot of what will happen and what we leave space for is reacting to what the players want. And so if you plan everything for so long, you're going to have very, very, very slow reaction times to fixing, or adding certain content where they maybe the issue is the campaign needs more of this, or this class needs more of this, or something. So if you're planning, then you're going to be delivering on what they want solved like a year down the line or even longer, and where we like to remain very, very dynamic and like, you know, you want to be able to fix that stuff like, oh, well, this is the main problem. Like, sure, obviously you need more than a week sometimes, most of the time, but we want it generally to be that the next releases, expansions, updates, whatever, can alleviate as many of those problems as possible. So, yeah, you try not to get too strict with the planning has generally been our philosophy, because especially when it comes to actually having the live service product out, because that is very, very important. Otherwise, you're never going to seem like you're doing what people want, and what are you doing if not that?
So that actually is a good point. Like, I was going to ask, what do you folks, what does the team want out of the beta? Obviously, it's like a good way to market the game, but it's also, you know, key to shaping the game. The actual beta.
I think one of the most important things, I think it's going to be really good for the development team to get back into a live mindset and like get it back into the idea of like, okay, everything we make is shipping.
People are seeing this.
Like, get back into this. You know, people are seeing. You know, like actually getting back into that and like, yeah, like, and like being able to sort of see directly, like, okay, we make something, it goes in the game, people like it, don't like it, like that kind of stuff. Like, and that really, like, that has been our studio for like most of its lifetime. Obviously, we, you know, before we released PoE 1, it wasn't, but after that point, I mean, we are a company. Like, we are a company that likes to think that we can do live service better than anyone else. Like, that is our goal. And so, like, getting back into that again, you know, for everyone in the studio, so that everyone's working on things that are going to be releasing within, you know, certainly in less time than, you know, than 3 months away. Is going to think be really, really good for us again. I look forward to just being able to do that, because these long term, like really long term things.
I mean,
like
they are they're just better.
It's like you go so long without proper feedback, like stuff kind of gets made, and then like you know, it's not really in a real game, and so it doesn't get
probably
tested
lose
properly.
Perspective,
and you absolutely lose perspective on this stuff. So I think that that's just going to be a really great to get back to that again.
Yeah, drop should be enabled.
Honestly, as you said, it is early access. It is a beta period.
Probably just have to refresh or something.
You know, personally speaking, the thing that, and we mentioned it briefly about the character balance and the builds that are broken and all that. That's obviously pretty useful to me, right?
Yep.
Plus, we have other systems in there, like, you know, the checkpointing system, right? You have to kill the boss in one life. You know, these are things we haven't mass tested, and obviously other games have, and they work, and that's awesome. There are other things like, you know, the end game system is a little bit less forgiving in that if you die, you fail the map, right? These things are things that we obviously need to test and iterate on in the future by adjusting the difficulty and stuff like that. And you, especially as you get towards this point of, you know, the end game, like, okay, Act 1 has been tested like crazy.
Yep.
Right? And you get less and less testing as it goes on, because you get less people, you know, they've just been around for less time.
There we go, I got it.
And so, yeah, it's going to be a huge amount of iteration and feedback, and from the players and us just, you know, reevaluating all the stuff. And the thing is, we're always dynamic about that stuff. Like, we'll just change things if it's wrong. We'll redesign it. We'll come up with a new way. Jonathan's a firm believer of if A doesn't work and B doesn't work, then we'll find C, we'll find option C, we'll find option D, and we'll keep changing things and we'll make it work. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of that iteration on our design decisions, how forgiving, because like, the game is pretty hard. You know, it can be pretty hard. And so when you're on that fine line of like, you know, if things are difficult, you know, it's not too easy to know if you've tilted one way or the other. So, you know, finding what everyone agrees should be the common corrected difficulty is something that I will obviously be paying very, very, very close attention to.
It's a pretty hard thing to nail down when you are making the game. And so we've seen that a lot, where you folks have been pretty willing to change and then rechange and rechange again some of the core features like flasks and the waypointing system and portals, and you're keeping that kind of mindset going into the beta then.
Of course. I mean, look, we're always willing to change stuff. Like that flask thing, like the most recent change to that was like ultra recent. Like, have we even had like a closed beta of that yet? Was that, no, I think we haven't. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's way better than it was. Like, it's things have improved a lot. And honestly, like, that's one of those things we've been wanting to do, something to sort out flasks for ages.
Yep.
And it really came about because when actually looking at what new players were having trouble with when they were playing, Flask Piano was actually like, even from the very beginning of the game, actually ended up being one of those things that like people just had trouble with, just like just the manual dexterity required to like hit all your different flask keys, and then you have to know when one of your flasks has run out so you can move to the next one, and like various things like that. Like all that stuff actually was like just a large amount of mechanical complexity right from the very beginning. Yeah. And then even at endgame, I don't think it was really that satisfying either, because you ended up with like, you know, just like having to press all these buttons all the time, and obviously it's all utility flasks that people are using at endgame. And then we kind of tried to band-aid this in PoE 1 with the you know, some of the flask automation stuff that was added there, but there was still this idea that that you're still more powerful if you don't automate. So therefore, you know, like it's like, you know, it's like there's that trade-off there. So
you're just more powerful if you get mage blood. Really,
sure. I guess, sure.
And then it's all automated, and you're very powerful.
Yeah, sure, all right. But you know, so the point is, effectively, that the charm stuff that we're doing effectively means that you no longer, the game is making that decision of like, you know, that stuff will be automated. You no longer have to do that like crazy flask piano to get the best, you know, the best out of your character. And I think that is definitely a step in the right direction. And the other thing as well is it actually makes the crafting more meaningful, I think, on the flasks, because when you've got like 5 slots, then like the individual mods and the individual stuff like seems to tend to not matter as much. I mean, obviously, you know, people want instant recovery and things like that, but you know, like but like now it's like it's much more meaningful. Like on your life flask, the choice between do I want instant or do I want way more life, like that kind of stuff actually can be a lot more meaningful once you've only got one. So yeah, I think it is a lot better.
You have we'll jump ahead to Floss since we're on the topic. You have locked in effectively the fact that there's a mana flask there now, so there's always going to be a mana flask slot. And how does that tie into your design for mana? And are we always going to be using mana flask slot, or if we solve another way, what does it do?
You can absolutely solve another way, and then you'll just have a flask slot that isn't doing anything for sure. But I think it kind of has to work that way, because we really don't want because like once you sort of start to get into changing that around, I feel like the system sort of starts to break with regard to like, you know, the feeling of like, I know where mana is, I know where my health is, like that kind of stuff. That being said, you know, we've always got uniques and stuff like that. I believe there's already...
there is a unique that allows you to equip 2 flasks.
But the thing is, then that's a build choice that you're making, so it's a little bit different, and that's fine. But I think the system as it works now just, it's a lot easier.
So it does sound like on the mana side of things then that there are going to be multiple angles
check out
of
the
solving mana.
pack.
Of course. Yeah, we've got Leech edition number 475 of how it works, and we've finally got it right this time.
There's a 4.5 gig update.
And I think it works, and I think it's good. So I think that Leech will be more common.
I'm not going to have to like crack out the Leech diagram showing the different buckets and things like that.
I was saying, I think that Leech might be. No, I think. I was going to say, Leech is one of the topics in the studio that has wasted the most designer time of anything in the industry. But I actually don't think it's that. I think the actual worst offender is what stats should Dex give you.
I played through standalone, but I want to switch back to Steam.
There's so many arguments about that.
I feel like that one's never come to the fore. Like we know about the Leech one.
But no one is happy about giving accuracy, but no one has a better idea than what accuracy that it can give. And then, like everyone's going to come up with like in chat a bit. I bet they'll be like saying, oh, you know, it can give this or this, whatever. But there's like yeah, seriously, there's been endless arguments about that topic. It's like, it's outrageous.
Yeah. You've got me thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, speed would be good, but then that's probably too much.
I don't think something like Dex.
Dex stacking speed.
We can get all the designers down here right now.
I know. We'll just have it out again. We'll just have it out again.
The longest Q&A of all time.
Yeah.
It's already going to be that.
Sometimes you're just like, you start the day.
It doesn't matter
here
for
are
me
the
if
problems
it's
we need to
delayed,
solve, and then you're like,
you always patch
then the accuracy on Dex comes up again.
Maybe it is.
3 PM and we're still discussing dexterity.
Yeah.
So go home. Just make it accuracy again.
Exactly. And that is literally how it comes back to accuracy every time.
This is okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A little bit.
I want to transfer to
we
Steam
can't forget
because
our with Path of Exile 1, of course. So
somehow they don't have 2FA if you're not on Steam.
What is the plan for
I
really don't know. Is there going to be leagues launching?
But if you're on Steam, you have 2FA.
There absolutely be leagues launching. Now I don't know the exact date, but the plan is kind of late February. But I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I will admit that unfortunately we did have to steal a few PoE 1 resources just towards the end here, which is kind of been a bit unfortunate. I really wish we didn't have to, but as I said, we kind of underestimated some of the stuff. But everyone is going to be going back to PoE 1 again for the February league, and we're going to make sure.
But if your Steam account's your PoE account, then you have
was a big problem for our studio when we had a long-term project and a short-term project.
Yeah,
is that you know, you've always had that thing of like you always want to work on the short-term thing.
Yeah.
So now that we've got 2 short-term things coming up, I actually think it's going to be a bit easier to prioritize in some respects because,
funnily enough,
you know, it's like it's just like it's all that stuff is then you know, is like coming.
You get a
up
little
soon.
blood reader,
So,
and you have to
but
put a little blood in your
how it goes,
PC
but,
for it
yeah,
to
we need to get that
let you in.
expansion out next.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I just want to always make it clear that, you know, the reason why things can't be so planned out is, again, we're just releasing this
Log
game.
in again while inside the
Obviously, we
game.
pivoted to end-game, and then
On
that
Steam?
needed
No, you
more
don't.
resources,
You
and then, of
just
course,
log in
combined
on
with the
Steam
fact
and you're
that,
in.
you know, things obviously change. There are unpredictable things in the environment we can't necessarily guarantee, and then of course you have
There's no login
you know,
information panels on Steam.
Christmas
what are you
coming
talking about?
up and all of that, right? There's so many variables to consider, but we also don't know how much time is going to be invested necessarily or need to be invested into live operations for post-release.
Yeah, like a
How many
breathalyzer.
problems are going to go wrong? How many builds are there? How many of the uniques are broken? How many, you know, and where do all these resources go? There are like just millions of variables here to consider, and so like it can get very, very difficult, especially at this time. But once you release, you have a bit of a grace period, so to speak, where well, more like a period of extreme amounts of fire, where we're putting out fires everywhere. But we have a period where we're fixing everything. You get everything stable, and then we're going to be like, all right,
What do
let's
you mean,
recalibrate,
JK?
figure everything out.
You have
and
like
what is our plans?
you
and
have
then establish
7,000
all of that,
hours on this game.
based also on the feedback we
How
get
the
from
fuck
that, you know, period where everything's
Did
on
you
fire.
think there was a login screen
Not to make
on
it sound
Steam?
like something bad, but that is the inevitability. Is that there's always problems.
Well,
and
hopefully it appears good from a player perspective, but there's always going to be like, oh my god,
Yeah,
people
we
found
don't-
this, and you know, like
we don't have to see all the fires.
Yeah.
So,
like ideally the best thing is when we're able to fix some kind of exploit before people even hear about it.
Yeah.
And when I say exploit, I'm just talking about some broken thing. Like if we so we obviously normally have to worry about like the whole mid-league nerf concept, but it's like if you can deal with something within like an hour or 2 of it happening, then it's like you're kind of okay because you know no one had a chance to kind of like everyone
I
swap
think
their
you can
build over
like
to it or
email
whatever.
support and they'll tell you the time
yeah, we're gonna
you
have to be
have,
really on the
but
ball for PoE 2
I don't
just
know
because
if
there's
it
so many
counts
things we need.
like.
well, I mean, look,
I think
we have
some
several
like really
bosses
old characters
with several elevators.
/ maybe deleted ones.
How many of them
that
have
won't
been
count, I
pushed
don't
up the
know.
elevator? You know what I mean? Well, that's what I mean. When I say a fire, I'm talking
Yeah.
about bosses getting pushed up elevators. Like that's not okay.
I am
Or
liking
maybe
my
that's okay.
mercenary flashbang knockback is very fun.
Right. Yeah, you need to look into that, by the way. The whole flashbang.
I feel like you're gonna nerf my build.
yeah.
Is this when he's
Stay away from my
finding fires
Grenader.
already?
Yeah.
No, these are the fun things. Discovering that stuff can be very fun for the players. It's just internally, it's like, oh no, what are we doing? It can get a little bit panicky after release, you know, and it you know, there's lots of things going on. You're like, oh geez, what do I solve first? But obviously, you know, it's the same as PoE 1. We're good at it at this point.
Got some
you know,
experience.
yeah.
Indie belts. You aren't going to be torturing us with like releasing beta stuff at the same time as PoE 2 league launch, PoE 1 league launches. Are you?
Yeah, the plan is to keep them separated a bit from
you.
each other so that you know you get a chance to play.
Don't
with
make me
both teams.
choose.
Yeah.
So we saw a cinematic.
I'd say it's at
to
least
put it lightly.
100
It was pretty-
gig.
that was quite epic, and I know has been cooking for quite some time, and that was pretty exciting. But we've also seen just a lot of story stuff happening on a much higher level
Absolutely.
than previously now. So
Yeah,
stepping
so,
up your storytelling game here a bit.
Yeah, so we're really wanting to make sure that the storytelling in PoE 2 is much better than what it was in PoE 1. Like, you know, there's a lot more kind of, I guess, like that kind of like stuff with the introductions to boss fights and the outros and things like that. Like all that stuff.
I mean,
we've
it
just got a
won't
lot
matter
more
if there's a
storytelling
preload or
going
not.
in,
Servers
all
are going to be
all
dead
those
for
things.
sure, right?
We do have the intro cutscene. There's also can kind of like light.
Well, I mean,
like,
honestly,
between the
for
acts, there's
early
these kind of,
access,
like,
it
more
might
kind
be
of,
fine.
motion graphic type.
I don't
cutscenes just kind of
know if
establish
like.
things. And there might be some more surprises later
don't
on
know
in the
if
game as well,
everybody in
not
their
in early access, unfortunately.
moms are gonna
later on that
play early
that
access.
you can see as well. But ultimately, we just want to make sure that, like, I think a lot of people who got through the PoE 1 story had no idea what was happening by the end. And so, effectively, we want to make sure that is not the case this time around. People really are able to absorb things. But
Guilty.
one thing I will say, though, is that it's ultra important to us that we don't break the feeling that like when you're playing a second time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
That it feels like we don't want it to feel annoying the second time.
We were talking about this morning. About you don't take the control out of the player's
I mean,
exactly.
D4
So, yeah,
on their paid early access. I mean, I guess it's a little different. I guess that wasn't early access. I was just pay to play early. So never mind.
Immediately, it feels way more annoying. Like, because there's this whole thing of like if you click on an NPC and like the camera changes position, like sure, when you're playing through the campaign the first time, that kind of thing is like like that can be cool. But then if you're like you're playing through the second, third, fourth, fifth time, you want to just be able to go to the NPC and go click, 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 and just get past, and without it feeling like you've had
as
to
you
watch
brought
it
up
over
having
anything.
to kill
So yeah, like
3,000 things every playthrough.
That we still have that, because ultimately we're a game you expect people to play through many times. So ideally we can kind of deliver both the situation where the first time you play through it feels like an amazing story that you're getting, that you're taking seriously, that you're understanding, that there's like all those sort of touch points and little things just all through, while also maintaining the fact that if you know what you're doing, it's like you don't have to go talk to some quest giver just to get a quest. Like you can just go do the thing, without having to talk to someone about it first. So that kind of stuff is really important, just to make that stuff work well when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you said something this morning that stuck with me, where you said like Path of Exile is a game where the player's meta knowledge is allowed and encouraged.
Absolutely. So
you're allowed to cheat. There's quests.
Effectively, so effectively, there's what the character knows and there's what the player knows, and in our game, what the player knows needs to be sufficient as far as like being able to progress the storyline. If you don't want to have it so you just talk to an NPC just to find out something you already knew as a player.
So many people.
Yeah, like if you kill this boss, you get the next area's waypoints.
It's like
just
actual,
kill it, log
holy
out, and
fucking shit, dude.
I love doing that.
Meta knowledge.
Yeah. So you explained to me the other day the
dude, I'm like,
the context.
I'm so
of the
deep,
beast and
and every person in here who's not a normal PoE streamer, they're sponsored.
I think helped put it in
like even going this far down, dude,
and understand what's going on. With the story
so effectively, what you're seeing
they
in the
sponsored
opening
every
is
fucking streamer, dude.
A new seed of a beast that is going to be is growing now. In PoE 1, the beast was killed. And then what happened in response to that is a bunch of all the gods in the world were able to, effectively rise again. And you killed a bunch of them, but there are more, in the world. And effectively, we don't want to spoil too much about the storyline overall, but effectively, obviously someone here, the Count is wanting to harness the power of the beast once again. And then we have the mysterious figure there who is saying, no, don't do this. This always turns out badly.
There was a comment in chat that I loved that was like, stop opening Eldritch boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do people keep doing this?
Yeah.
But I would.
If someone handed you a mysterious orb, wouldn't you press the button?
I mean,
there's a puzzle box.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to try, but who knows how many hours it's going to take me.
Indeed.
So we had a fun moment earlier where you were watching it and you were like, "Oh, we really need to rename that passive because he's a Karui and it's a wolf. It's called a wolf.
Great Wolf's Howl. And the Great Wolf obviously being
so you went out there,
Ismite history.
You started telling him.
I don't buy that D4 marketing.
We need to rename that notable. He's Karui. And then I was kindly reminded that actually he was
an orphan who
orphan and was adopted by a Ismite and raised and so yes, there is a mixture of Karui and Ismite background, and I was like,
it works. You were wrong.
Fair enough. I walked back in here all sad and whatever. My bad. It's fine. The name is good.
He looked so chastised when he came back in, but that just like points to the fact that I feel like you're doing a lot more with the characters here. For sure. You even mentioned that the ascendancy stuff is going to have an impact story-wise.
So
that's why
I need a non-naked character so I can look at this.
The acolyte and I always get this name wrong. The acolyte of is it Chalula?
Chayula.
I always say this wrong. The acolyte of Chayula, for example. So that we have this sort of storyline with the origins of the monks, where there's like an order of monks who worship a thing they call the Dreamer, and the Dreamer is actually Chayula. So and they don't know this. So they're effectively worshipping a breach demon. So the acolyte of Triula is effectively you embracing the fact that I'm worshipping a breach demon. I'm just going to go all the way. And you know,
I'm in too deep now.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to do it. So yeah, there's a lot of thinking like that goes into these things. Like, you know, what is the history of these people? Like, you know, because I think a lot of that stuff inspires interesting mechanics as well. So for example, on that one, you've got that into the breach skill, which kind of means you're always in a breach all the time. You can see the things going on. Like that stuff is. I think that there's a lot of cool inspiration there. So
I doubt
that
they'll
storyline
change
stuff
that.
For that stuff,
there's a couple other little things that I think is cool as well, and hopefully people will notice and pay attention to. So there's one of the bosses that was shown as uses a lot of time or chronomancy.
Beacon of Salvation hideout.
Interestingly, if you are a sorceress and you ascend to Chronomancer and you then go to fight that boss, if you, for example, try to use Time Freeze, the boss is like, that doesn't work on me, and has a dialogue line. And if you cast Temporal Chains on them, he's like, just puts it back on you. And it's like, And so there's interesting things like that, and it doesn't like change things on a grand scale, right? It doesn't make a certain class not viable or anything like that. But there's just interesting little quirks and quips everywhere. Different bosses have different intro lines depending on what class you're playing. They have different skill lines sometimes depending on what class you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, we've got different dialogue all through the campaign for different classes. Like the sorceress is obviously from the Maraketh. When she goes back to the Maraketh, there's kind of a little backstory there about how she was banished originally. So she needs to find a way to she needs to be accepted back into their culture again. Like we've got things like the character we talked about earlier. So the warrior was an orphan. He was brought up by actually one of the NPCs.
I don't have the drops. I need to watch another stream, but I can't mute the other stream without it stopping the drops and without it also not muting this. Because if I click the mute site thing, which is the only way you can get drops and not listen to it is by muting the tab and not this. But it mutes the site, so it mutes this, so then I can't hear it.
Obviously, we saw the world map.
I don't get
that show different things that are in each act, like all the things
I don't get drops for actually streaming it.
But each of them also has a little bit of a kind of little bit of text on them as well. And like, for example, there's one in one of the first areas in the game that's just like a camp of Iron Count guards, and we showed it in a trailer when the Ranger class trailer we did. Whenever it was, you saw the ranger kill some of them because they were trying to like hurt a child, and the child was just trying to get some food, and the ranger just like snipes them with arrows and kills them ruthlessly.
Right,
and so you read
sick.
This thing and you're like, you hear whispers of an Iron Count, scouting party that was slain by a rogue archer or something like that. So you get these little things where we're like connecting a lot of little dots, and even that you absorb a little bit of interesting little information.
All right.
You've got other.
Oh wait, I'm probably getting drops on this, huh?
Text that's giving you a little bit
of history.
And these little things like somehow make the world building feel so much better. And
there we go.
Certain landmark rooms, when you walk into them, you'll get a banner at the top.
What
am
I talking about, dude? Yeah, I just get it from that.
And all these little micro narrative delivery mechanisms like make you feel way more immersed in the world and way more aware of what's going on and way more connected to your character, way more connected to the bosses, to the NPCs. There's a lot we're doing now that we certainly never did before. We didn't even think of before.
How do I actually claim them?
I like that a lot because, like, as an action RPG gamer, I don't really care too much about plot, but I do want a really cool world to be blowing monsters up in. Basically, that's all I care. I want the characters to be cool, I want the baddies to be cool, and I want.
Right. Actually, do I get like some PoE 2 music in this new well, where did this just put me? This is a different spot. I don't know. I claimed them on my Twitch page, but maybe it's gonna take a bit. I don't know if it went through. Let's check out the new stuff. Hideout, what's in the box? What box? What box? Why are people talking about a box? Dude, it's time for kiwis again. Oh, the puzzle box. Yeah, it's not open yet. Alright, what's the next one? Yeah, PoE 1, I mean, this area looks pretty cool because it's like PoE 2 textures, but PoE 2 just makes PoE 1 look so dated. King of the Faradun. That looks pretty sick. I need a bow.
Freedom comes to those. Remember.
I just grab some of each, I guess. Get a two-handed axe, get a two-handed mace. Delete these. Bow. Sword. Claw. That should be pretty good, I guess. I don't know, I want to be a merc, but I'm assuming there's gonna be some information we get that you can kind of guess what's gonna be good. I wonder if they're gonna, because they didn't show the full ascendancies, did they? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they did. Actually, that's not from this one. Yeah, it's pretty clean. Yeah, this is the cheapest pack. The Ogren, Lord of Ogham. Oh wait, where's the, I think this gives me the, oh yeah, there we go. Got the baby crow thing. But I don't know what the, oh. Oh, there we go. There's the corrupted one. Oh, an open fist. Faradun. Oh yeah, and this one has a bow. Ooh. Does that have any different options? Oh yeah, you could probably just not float. Alright. Was I just naked for a second? Did you see that? Did you catch a glimpse? Alright, this is pretty sick. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. I feel like the 160 or 241 is usually the one that looks the best. Yeah, it's a PoE themed puzzle box. I've still gotta finish it here soon. From GGG. Shit. For now. Yeah, I gotta see that. For options? Oh yeah, you can probably just not float. Let's check it out. Let's investigate. Here it comes, boys. Was I just naked for a second? Wait. I like how the pelvis was just like invisible. I don't know if it's invisible or what. Dude, if it's part of the game, it's allowed. Is that this one? What are the weapon skins called on them? Oh, there we go. Oh, it has to be a wand? I don't know, I haven't done the boat stuff yet.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Wand? Wand? Fuck it, fine, I'll go to Act 1. I think it's the chest cosmetic that makes you fly.
Hello. Take care.
I still didn't get my wing drops unless they're not called the... No, I don't think I did. Yeah, that's pretty sick skin. I don't know. Oh yeah. What is that? Is that from this too?
Godslayer.
No, they're for both. Iron Couch Zweihander. Oh shit. Any equipped sword. Shield. Oh shit. I think that's from this. That looks sick. I think it's from this. Surely. Wait. It only does one of my daggers? Oh, that's sick though. Wait, why does it only do one of my daggers? Oh, there we go.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Felling axe. Unavailable. It's not supported in this game version. They couldn't have made it like work on a bow. Scepter. Oh, this one's gonna be sick. Oh shit. That one is sick. Look at those. Oh true, probably wouldn't work with the animations. It's like I'm painting in MS Paint. This is from the 480 Sporter Pack, I think. Oh shit, the golden drip. Dude, it makes your weapon trails look so funny. Oh, that looks pretty sweet. A lot of my friends say it looks and feels a lot like Baldur's Gate 3 with no turn-based. What? Dude, they're just built different. The weapon trails look pretty sweet on this. They're huge. Ix? No way, it's intended for sure. Alright. Where's the boats at?
I'm not up to that just yet.
Anchors away! We don't hang off. Put that there.
Oh shit. He has no legs. He just has shins.
Hear that? Me neither. arms, legs. Oh, who put that there?
How do I get off? I don't know. Oh, there we go.
Anchors away. We don't actually have an anchor, but I still like to say it. Force of habit, see?
He has no legs!
You hungry? The smell of the sea.
You get amputee boat drivers.
Oops. You might want to hold on a bit tighter.
Let me off.
Thank you for your patronage. Fancy seeing you here.
Hey, he got his legs back, kinda. Need a boat race. Put money on boat racing.
There are worse places to. Oh, who put that? And don't come back. Just kidding. You're welcome anytime. Got your sea legs? Then off we go. You smell
Oh no.
that? No?
He does not have his sea legs.
Oops, you might want to hold on a bit tighter. What? No tip?
Birds. Okay, I want to go back and
Existence is a
they don't have the full reveal on YouTube yet.
That's like that's like a whole other thing. Yeah.
I want to look at the map stuff
ultimately,
again.
we just want to make sure that, like, I think a lot of people who got through the PoE.
I don't know. Was there 2 hideouts? I don't think so. Oh, there is statues I could put though. Dude, he's ready to go to town. No, there's no scroll on it. What does IC mean? Damn. That one looks good. Spell eye cup. Dude, he's grabbing them cheeks. At this angle, that doesn't look right. What is Dominus doing? It's like that... It's the coffee pasta come alive. Oh yeah, I guess there is another hideout. Wait, I'm stuck over here. How do I get out?
Hello.
Dreadnought. Oh shit, is it the caravan town thing? Dude, this is the coolest town. That's pretty sick. Oh yeah, let me try the weather thing on it. Yeah, the weather thing does instantly improve any hideout. It's true. The lightning ones is the best.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Alright.
Sorceress, you might want to change from fire and light, but even from rain items.
Given map stuff again.
You increased and just the trouble with danger.
An early access.
Aren't going to spoil it as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is.
One by purchasing one of the new early access stuff. Contain a new
anger the wrestler shows. Some of the strong tablets are special are all new points when you it is. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, unique items will have high corruption. Precursor items in the camp is the
enough in-game player. This is already a pretty at the start during early access and into release. All the monsters and bosses that will take. But what is the end game? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
New crafting bench. I didn't know there was one.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile 2.
Wait, is there a
Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct in-game content to choose between. Each in-game mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through. This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier, which will determine the level of the monsters
there's
that
gonna
you will
be
face.
Like 500 videos on this. Like 500 different videos analyzing the smallest shit for 35 minutes.
To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it.
Okay, I mean, there is zero reason anybody should be playing D4 when this comes out. You want slower gameplay, you play this. You want faster, you play PoE 1.
And the boxes
is just obsolete now.
Often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs. There are different types of strong boxes containing different items, and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of opening one you can't handle. Sometimes you'll discover monsters throwing items with mod in your tiers and sustaining increased danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will increase the number of biomes, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the in-game world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast, and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them.
Okay, but I'm not seeing why it's like Last Epoch. Are people just saying that because it looks kind of similar? So I'm not seeing the similarity here.
Later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit, and mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them.
But it doesn't get harder as you go out, I don't think.
The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter.
Unless I've missed them say that like 4 times now.
This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty in...
He says it like 3 times. No, there's multiple tiers of ways
with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing.
Dude, I wanted to see the monster who throws her babies at you and then explodes.
For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is be able to create a and simulate anger the rest. There are 4 empire, such as Trial Master will stand to the strange ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. Massive proximity to each other. Lots of things to find, so keep looking. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different
Dude, what are the softcore players gonna do? You can't progress if you die. Oh, just on the PoE Twitch. Yeah, dude, this game is so gonna filter people. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, dude, wait. Selling your maps is gonna be kind of cool when you find a good one.
To dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclust, and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a...
You know, it'd be kind of sick if you could kind of like... It doesn't seem like it's going to be like that. It seems like you're just going to keep going in one direction or other, whatever. And if there's some kind of systematic way to clear the Atlas, so you like can know which biome you're going to go into next or something. I don't know how that'd be done, but something like that would be sick.
Dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclust, and have specific items that can be found there.
It's gonna be a long 2 weeks.
These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around.
There's probably going to be a lot of like broken OP shit.
To scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations.
They're good at
You may have noticed while looking at the atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign.
Do you know it's gonna be? We get actual numbers now. So if something's bugged, if something's doing not enough damage or too much damage, we're gonna see it. Because there's a lot of stuff in PoE that's like bugged forever that just nobody knows.
But have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not...
You can take them to the...
Maybe I should,
Just some...
Let's see. Maybe I should do one of those YouTube videos where I go through the entire thing in 3 minutes, unlike everybody else who's gonna have 45,000 minutes on a 1-minute section. PoE 2 for people with ADHD.
Damn mouth. Ugh, why do I always get stuck with these rookies?
Alright.
6th. Hi. Trailer.
Existence to enemies, and yet bound to one another. F.
Madness is spreading. Under the dark and PoE 2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham. Forge unlikely bonds. This is available. Like all classes in PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match.
This when the stream was dying.
Those who power and tends to harness. There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. Like hidden, it falls to boss momentum. Civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class. Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos. To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new. The Monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts.
I don't know. It's probably going to be Warrior Man with the totems.
Lightning.
I mean, I mean, there's all the same totems basically. So.
And wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one. The best combos are going to involve mixing elements of all three. Let's try Killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we can use a different skill to consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack. The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell from pits much low. Among the skill option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Among the skills, lose control.
No, the only class lock skills are ascendancy. Some ascendancies get special skills.
Attacks can be retargeted as you get big chunky attacks. Now, if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of armor. Even though the mace slams are slow, you never lose control. Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time. Among the skill option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from sheer damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable. Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake. But you can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills in.
I bet totems are going to be OP.
Like the active skills for maces,
just let them
so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on. Time for some ranged attacks. The ranger is primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well. In PoE 2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat. Bow skills have a variety of lightning, poison, ice, and physical attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat. Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you. Using poison, not only can you slowly damage your enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from agile as
enemies or warrior skills.
And if you find yourself skills, long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time. Among the skill option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava.
And shoot while moving, everybody's going to use with the
Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells. While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%,
I mainly played ranged things, but
some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash.
I don't remember
if you see one of these coming,
bad.
be sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the Earthquake. But you can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can take a slam like Sunder and socket it into my Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there and slam the monsters from a distance. There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out, but by endgame you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat,
skills for maces.
And separating the very earth you stand on.
What'd they
there
say
are 21 active skills for quarterstaves.
Oh, you see that? Perfect timing.
So this just scratches them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have your stance will break and you will be damaged from the front, even spells. While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable. Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Full damage having trouble with frozen. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will orders as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. Dedicated life flask slot out of tornadoes. You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you have 1 dedicated life flask slot and 1 mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. That's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs.
Arms.
Or damage types. Having trouble with getting frozen? Equip a thawing charm. When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Yeah, I'm writing notes for a video, so I can make a non-shitty video like everybody else is gonna make shitty video.
All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find skills that work like shotguns, sniper rifles, assault rifles, and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to Fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage. If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage. If you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas.
Yeah, I
These
think
have a minimum range, so
I
you'll
definitely want to
your
start
position
Merc.
carefully
I hope
before moving in.
it's good.
There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun.
The Merc looks so good.
If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the Witch should be your choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her, while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit Gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills that debilitate. If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the Witch should be your choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her, while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create permanent minions. This is not with hordes of undead monsters to fight for her, while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create...
So, if Spirit's your aura reservation and your minion reservation, minions are gonna have to be really fucking strong or it's gonna be trash. Or auras are just way weaker.
Permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time. Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde.
Are you
You can
over
see the
your
spirit
head?
cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are
Yeah, but that's the best part, is being in over your head.
cheap but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for even more damage and area of effect. If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends. And if you want an even bigger army than that,
oh, they're definitely
going to
be way weaker than PoE 1 ones. I just mean relatively.
What can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down. There are 25 active occult skills. By the endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path. The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic from afar. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and
they
combo
made
up,
some
even between different
zombies.
elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a
It
burning
might
line
have,
that
I don't
not only
know, it might have
damages enemies,
been
also empowers all
skeletons that I
projectiles
saw
to pass
them
through it.
raised, but I'm pretty sure
If you
that I
place
saw
a wall
them
and
raised
fire
zombies.
lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to
I don't know,
automatically
it
swap
seems
weapons and
like
use certain...
they want to stay away from things that are just like straight up more damage, and they want to do stuff that's like utility wise.
skills.
So.
Having a special staff with bonuses to fire
I feel like we'll probably get some really OP stuff from like utility wise instead of just straight up getting damage. Like instead of getting 50% more damage, you're just gonna shoot like twice the amount of shit or something. Like you saw their projectile on the merc, some of the merc projectiles, it was like bouncing all over the place.
skills, and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example,
like that.
you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited. There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right.
25. I don't know, it's hard to tell their AI how it is.
Right, as you rain down elemental storms on your foes. Now,
I mean, you're definitely going to
characters
control
will be
them more,
available
like
at the
you
start of early
control their
access,
spells
but
they
we'll be
do
adding
and
6 more
stuff.
character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions. You can use all these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a Poison Ranger might want to try out using Occult Curses to increase her poison damage, or a Monk might want to trigger Elemental Ice Walls to use with his Glacial Cascade combo. The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet. So let's talk about support gems.
Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can
20% less attack speed from multi-proj.
change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended
40% more AoE,
support
more
gems for each
speed.
of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectile support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill. Normally, when you fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills in your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment. Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact.
Yeah, I have it at
Each skill can have up to 5
1.25.
supports socketed into it, and if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now, often we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each skill can have up to 5. You can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible
Dude, these support gems look
ways
sick.
these can interact. Each skill can
God damn it, you son of a bitch.
have up to 5. You can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from. And even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each
Greater Jeweler Orb? Is it just a fresh reset for WoW, or is there something new with it? But I'm gonna have no free time.
skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it.
I don't know, Jonathan slowed down's kind of sick.
And if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas.
December 6th.
Now all of this is just scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat, make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the
Wait, I missed, what class did I miss? Monk, Warrior, Ranger, Merc, Witch. What did I miss? Oh, is that Sork? Is Sork and Witch different? I think it is. I don't think so.
The most iconic. You will find skill intends to harness. For example, he intends to harness planes of the Bastion. Let's have a look at them.
Yeah, I think that's Sork and I think that's Witch. Sork, monk, ranger, witch, warrior, another monk, maybe merc, or maybe that's merc. Is that warrior? Warrior, merc, monk?
The monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping from the tree and can get a little intimidated at first. But try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to. You should be point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful.
Feeling good. Looking huge.
For your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold. Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes, and they tend to vault. And here's that more likely. In order to get between these clusters, gear microphones, skills, two-hand weapons, single hand.
Endgame, you kill monsters to get better gear, to kill harder monsters, to get better gear, to kill harder monsters, to get better gear.
You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them. Or how about Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your mana regen. Skills like these can be tough to build around.
Multiplayer, I mean, traditionally multiplayer hasn't been very good, but...
As we showed you earlier on the Sorceress, you can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills.
It might be better than this, I don't know.
One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorcerer, new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can...
Dude, every softcore build is going to be dual-handing two-handers. Mark my words.
You can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one-hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace. Or perhaps you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage. If you want to stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest however you like, but creative players will find plenty of opportunities with this system. You can get weapon specialization points throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map you can see icons.
Unless it's like really, really hard to get the stats.
That indicate the many optional Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map you can see icons that indicate the many optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance. One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going
because they don't have all the acts ready for early access, so they need to do a loop of them so you can get the end game.
Going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with one mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently. As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs.
Holy shit, you only get 1 shard
Another
per item?
important area of crafting items in PoE 2 is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like resistances or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and one-hand weapons can only have 1 socket. You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost. If you don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is all. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of the system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on an open market, in exchange for a small gold fee. Now, all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character, except gold. Now, most gear in Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't.
Look at the prod,
They're especially
so
rare,
sick.
each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items. The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into doubling your blink, morphing your... Every single unique item comes with custom art to match. The last character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes, but at the start of early access, only 2 per class will be available. Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can drastically affect how you build your character. As a sorceress, you could become a Stormweaver, a master of the elements. The Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell. With Strike twice, you can sack 2 copies of Shock for more damage, and going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build.
They don't show the whole thing right now. I don't think
Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself. She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities. Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life and mana back to what it was.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty cool. It's all skills.
And cast all her spells again. On the Warrior, you can choose between the Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks. Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the corpses of your enemies, and with Great Wolf's Howl you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger out. The Titan class is all about hitting big.
I mean,
with Earthbreaker, every
it's
slam
still
is a chance to create an
PoE,
aftershock.
so I mean it's PoE 2, not PoE 1.5. It's pretty different.
With
But
crushing impact,
it's still PoE, so it's not. You ever seen sequels before?
every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With surprising strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With endless munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile. With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase in movement speed with every attack, but be careful, she loses them when getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison. She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while Overwhelming Toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move as an firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies. The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage of the. Let all that anger with Crushing Impact. Every attack means an extra project. Foes, while Infernal Flame, while in Demon exchange every siphon. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an Invoker. With Elemental Expression, the Invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With Faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the Blizzard or I am the Thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar. Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments. Some monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage.
I bet this one's gonna be good.
Will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Mana Sieve will explode and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do. The Breach Demons.
You think if Zabiqua exists, this is gonna be busted.
There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. You are sorcerer. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a Witch Hunter. Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery. The chances double hunting gemling leaps. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Dermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support that will test. The highest position in Marraketh culture is a second. To enter, a warrior of the Marraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed on the relic altar to begin the trial. In the Trial of the Seconds, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed. While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. it is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the trial of the Secondus. After each room you will be rewarded. In this case you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Djinn, which will help you on your journey. The next boon, the boss you've earned so for own match them. It's a boss. A high profile trial. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the trial of the Secondus, but we'll save that for the
it doesn't do it. It looks way better when you aren't looking at it through a shitty Twitch compression.
Okay. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast have their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release. While exploring, once you own turrets, all the monsters in the room, while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets. After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk. Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you.
I don't know, I feel like minions either going to be OP or shit.
3 chambers, you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Now, every time a new... So far, we've only been... There isn't enough of PoE 2 already take around... Tired of... We added the rest of the act plus. It's also a lot faster. Instead of having
25 hours for a noob. So probably like 3 hours if you're not a noob.
At the 4 to 6 in early access, we can concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge over to make. We've added a second difficulty level. Level called Cruel. We repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up. And of course, new rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame. But what is the endgame? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct in-game content to choose between. Each in-game mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to the Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access. And they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful, rare, and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as complete.
Wait. No way, I did not just hear what I just heard. Jesus Christ.
And you'll... In order to cleanse the corruption from...
I missed that.
...into the world. If you die, then the powerful rare abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it.
Holy shit. You have to kill all the rares. It's gonna be like a den scenario where you get a trickster rare and it's like just hiding somewhere on some shitty... Oh no, dude. I hope the layouts are good where you can't possibly miss one.
Once?
Yeah, wait, oh my, wait, what, yeah, what if you got like a really shitty rare?
Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find...
Oh, wait, what happens if you fail every map in an area around your first place? Latest news about logout macros? There's no news.
And strong boxes.
Although if you log out, you're supposed to be in the same... In PoE 2, if you log out, you'll be in the same spot you were when you logged out, so it shouldn't do anything? I don't know.
These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the bottom can be broken free if you defeat it. But be careful.
I'd imagine all characters share Atlas travel.
One you can't handle.
Well, that'd be kind of cool. You leave Untainted Paradises up for your new character.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters.
Yeah, I don't know. What happens if you break your atlas by losing?
Solidified crystalline corruption.
There's got to be like a way to reset it or something.
If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to frozen in essences. Solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category. For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod. This is incredibly powerful, since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items, and we can get a very nice pair of boots indeed. Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and—
Oh dude, that would be sick. You get like different maps for different kind of stuff. Like you get a map that's good for like boxes or something. Well, I guess if the goal is always kill all rare and unique, I guess that's not going to really be a thing anyways. You still got to kill all the monsters.
Think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares.
I don't know, it's a waystone and you put it into the spot on your Atlas and then it opens that map. And you can't repeat it. I don't think you can repeat it.
The number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast, and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit, and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map.
Alright. So that's pretty weird. Only 1 in 4 maps have a map boss. It's kind of weird.
We indicates that.
Who's gonna remember all this? I mean, it's all pretty similar to PoE 1, honestly.
The area contains some
I already know it all.
Special
Easy.
encounter.
Yeah, but yeah, that'll be actual bosses probably, or at least harder.
This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4
I mean, with how good the campaign bosses are, it'd be a shame if they were weak.
Maps contain a map boss. We are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing
I don't mind the repeated acts early.
you 7 of these.
But I mean, that's not their intention for the full release.
By the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. Bosses on this other to consume the tablet rewards of the Breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more.
Does it add? It says you said more encounters, but does it just add them to the maps? Doesn't add more maps.
Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your tower.
Yeah, the monk looks kind of sick. Like, honestly, they all look pretty sick. The only one I don't really care about playing is Warrior, because I don't know, it just looks so slow. In the like early demos they had us play at ExileCon and at the LA events and whatever, it was really slow.
It will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to rarely juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets. In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mods. You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach Rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes.
Yeah, the new Breach Rings are way better.
Mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a Breach Stone. Using a Vaal technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your Breach Stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering
I mean, I don't. People seem to not understand this. Like, I mean, this is kind of just a thing for every game. Every single game, clear speed is king. It doesn't matter what kind of game, ARPG, whatever. Clear speed's king. If you can do something faster, you're getting more stuff. That's it. There has never been a game that it's relevant that like it's not relevant.
Hordes of Breach inhabitants.
Clear speed will always be relevant. If you can do something faster. Unless it's like a rare scenario, but I feel like this never happens. I'd say 99 out of 100 times clear speed is more important than like doing something that's more rewarding slower.
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare. We that are one. Fate relies
No, you only get a hard encounter 1 in 4 maps.
This is just one.
I wonder if this will bring the... You know, it actually could bring the rise of having to use 2 characters. Like, you have one clearer, and then you swap to the boss one for the boss man.
Encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself. But rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them, but that's not all. We still have the progression system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the Breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the Breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the Twisted Domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4
way more,
will be
I
a
don't, what looks
challenge
like an
indeed,
MMO
but
to
there
you.
are many more threats in Rayclast. Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious King in the Mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive.
They said they want to bring over most of them, but not all of them are going to be in early access, and they're going to phase them in and rework them for PvP.
In addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area, you'll be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are specialized nickelings like sports that out across various entity has taken a special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is allowing you to further juice your in-game maps.
I feel like delirium's gonna be really fucked in this.
Can be used to further improve it, and from difficult. You will receive into a simulacrum a truly terrifying expedition. Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium out of any as possible. One you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items.
I didn't know that. You mean the narrator in Delirium that like
increase the number of expeditions and the rewards. This
Probably.
one increases the radius of explosives, while this one increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you create an encounter of one cave. There's much more content as you that you lost at the need.
Wait, what?
Easily make high number.
Which thing gives?
Want you to memory, build emotion. They are also
are these from Delirium?
Finding these emotions, you are able to out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much as a strange. We won't. These.
Dude, I'm glad you're not gonna have to try and find random ass unique maps for
metacraft.
Fucking metacrafting now.
You grab it, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your in-game maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your in-game maps. The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The move into a simulacrum are truly terrifying.
We anal saying it right now in our department.
If you can complete a simulacrum,
what?
You will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition. Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them with runic magic. Remnants, interesting night, but rewards. Each floor has its own challenging rooms, and a floor boss that you will need to kill. There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sekimas is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree. These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sekimas is where you'll find jewels. Which you can.
No, I haven't finished the box. I'm probably gonna finish the box tomorrow. I mean, I could stall it out for another day and do this shit for today.
Socket into your tree. These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot of power here. There are also other types of...
I definitely like the direction they're going though, with everything being separated more so, like even with the map. Like I like the times when you had reasons to do different maps. As opposed to, like, I don't like running Strand a million times in a row. I mean, I do, but I also don't. Now you're gonna have to, you'll go to like different biomes and shit based on what you want to do, and different content for different items a lot more.
Jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%. With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Vaal style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes.
Can you only get Vaal Orbs from there? Huh.
Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Perhaps while mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger. Is the maze preventing something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame.
Yeah, this is actually a lot more than I was expecting. With that last delay, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be a pretty bare bones EA. But it's actually a lot.
It's clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the side. Each of the faction's leaders. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city, but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access?
Sixth.
Well, during early access, you'll need a key to get in. You also the access existing PoE spring of your law. Following this and some
a release day, but
big notes. Tons of notes. "15 minutes. Now the point of the video is to be short." No, you gotta pay them to beta test.
I think we do.
More than 408.
Okay, but where's the PoE mobile announcement? That's the real content I'm looking for.
More than $480 US.
If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example,
you probably made it into a town and now you can't get above 2 FPS, I would guess.
this is the Last Flame. If you
It was fine until I got around to town.
Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost, allowing you and your party to travel to the area.
Allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor. Your unique item comes even more. There are challenging
monsters, I'll be right back.
Hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No 2 areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class. Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat, and his mechanics involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos. To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE 2. You can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new. The Monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice, and wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one. The best combos are going to involve mixing elements of all three. Let's try Killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we could use a different skill to consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack. The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around it. You can also do things like freeze or shock the bell, which will add elemental damage to the strikes. The monk also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff. If an enemy is close to being stunned, you can use Staggering Palm to punch them down. After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles. There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating screens of enemies with huge combo attacks. Now, if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of armor. Even though the mace slams are slow, you never lose control. Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time. Among the skill option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells. While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable. Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them.
Nah, there's no way you can
charging,
like fail your first 4 maps
so
in
you
a
have full
bricks or
damage immunity
something.
from the front.
There's no way.
The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake.
I think that'd be hilarious.
You can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can take a slam like Sunder and socket it into my Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there and slam the monsters from a distance. There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on. Time for some ranged attacks. The ranger is primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well. In PoE 2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat. Bow skills have a variety of lightning, poison, ice, and physical attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat.
I think they said before you can use 2 shields. I don't think I saw it in here, but I'm pretty sure that that's a thing. I think. Yeah, I think if you buy the top supporter pack, you get like 3 or 4 codes. Level all your skills at once. You can switch as much as you want. What do you mean? Switch as much as you want. You find a gem and then you choose which one it is.
Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you. Using poison, not only can you slowly damage your enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation.
You can definitely unsock
By
it.
endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes.
Dude, that skill looks so sick.
Take advantage of noticed in the situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes. You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you have one dedicated life flask slot and one mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically
well, it can't be 20 of them or shit because they want you to combo, so it has to be at least like
you can use charges
a couple that are good.
Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types.
Merc by far
Having
looks
trouble
the
with
most
getting
fun.
frozen? Equip a thawing charm. When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Have they uploaded this to YouTube yet? Oh yeah, they did.
Sir. Sir.
You mean this? Yeah, that is sick. The inventory looks really good. And honestly, all of the art is
The mercenary wields a crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility.
I don't know if there's a game with better art than this.
All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be
I think
controlled
the
with
art
WASD,
is
which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow,
It's
you will
the
find
best
skills that work like
out of
shotguns,
any game I've ever seen.
sniper rifles, assault rifles,
And I don't know if it's even
and even
close.
grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types.
I think you probably have to kill something for the tower and then it just reveals everything. I think that's it. And then the tablets. I mean, you just go to each circle and then you put the waystones in and then you do them.
You already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to Fragment.
Like, I'm really, I cannot stress it enough. The game looks way better than the video makes it look.
Rounds to explode.
Like, I mean, graphically wise.
The ice dealing massive AoE damage.
Like, I'm telling you,
if I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage. If you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas. These have a minimum range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in. There are 22 active skills for
No, I want to get a 1440p monitor, so I'm definitely gonna holy flashbang. I'm definitely gonna need
you'll be calling destruction down
at
from the
least
sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades.
I feel like I could probably get away with just a graphics card for this. Because there's no way it's going to be more CPU intensive than PoE 1. Like, there's 0% chance, right?
Pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun. If you're looking to take a
I think this game might actually become more of a
then the witch
GPU
should be your
bottleneck.
choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her, while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies.
9900K.
Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit Gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills.
Oh, it's the same
All classes
engine,
have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects, like
upgraded.
Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time. Here I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills.
I know.
You can order these guys to detonate
the
your own
versions I played were a lot earlier than what these are, what it is now, but the test PCs they had us playing on would definitely drop some frames. But that was like 8 months ago at this point, so
minions for even more damage and area
surely
effect.
it's better.
If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends. And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down. There are 25 active occult skills. By the end game, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead,
I'm gonna
consuming
say at
everything in its path.
4060 is probably not enough for 1440.
The sorceress
like
bends
above
the elements
60.
to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic from afar. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to
dude, there's no way an i7 and 1060, you're gonna... You better hope there's a RuneScape mode.
Having a special staff with bonuses to fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically...
Yeah, I mean, how big is the gap between the newer CPUs and...
automatically be cast to the enemy that was ignited. There are 25 active elemental skills.
Is it less of a gap than
firing off projectiles left and right as you rain down elemental storms on your foes.
The GPU, I think
now,
the gap's
those are the
big.
characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions. You can use all these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a Poison Ranger might want to try out using Occult Curses to increase her poison damage.
On a 1060, yeah, you're fucked.
Elemental Ice Walls to use with
maybe
his
you can play at like 720p to get 60.
The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game.
There's no way you even played PoE 1 at 60 at 1080 with that.
What is possible yet?
There's no way.
So let's talk about support gems. Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you...
How are you at... Yeah, you're fucked, dude. It's time to upgrade. Well, how do you even play PoE right now? Sponsored by Big GPU. Yeah. I'm not actually. I would love to be though. I wonder if I got my my back attachment yet. Yeah, but like ugly in a good way. I still don't have them. It's gonna be a long 2 weeks, dude. Gonna be a long 2 weeks.
I'd want to do that here.
I think they said at least 6 months at some point. Dude, it all looked so good. No, I'm gonna finish the puzzle box tomorrow. Yeah, you can work your way through them. Alright. I'm out of here. Time to do some massive video pumping.